Hello and welcome to Kody and Korbin Have a Podcast, the show where two former roommates talk about your name. My name is Korbin Zvokel, and I'm your host. My awesome co-host is here as well. What's your name?
My name is Cody. I am Jack to be here, man. I think it's gonna be a great episode. We have a guest as well, which is always fun. Yeah, you want to introduce him there, Corbino? What's his name?
Yeah. All joking aside with the playing off of the title of our movie, we are talking about the 2016 film Your Name, and we have a very special guest to discuss it. My friend and my coworker, Ronald E Smith. Ron, welcome to the show. What's going on, man?
Blessings on blessings, gentlemen. Oh my goodness gracious, got me feeling the goosebumps over here. I'm so blessed to be here, to be honored with y'all. Look here, and anyone come up to me and they tell me we're gonna talk about the film Your Name, please. I'm always gonna be showing up for that.
Love to hear it. And to be honest, Cody and I are really not like anime guys. We haven't covered a lot of just animation in general on the show. So I love that you're here to kind of educate us a little bit and open our eyes to a whole new world. And I think we both enjoyed this movie, and I think we're going to have a great discussion about it moving forward.
Hey man, look, I've been stuck in the mud with anime for years on years. So like anything I can give up about it, please. That's what I'm here for.
Before we start, Ron, I know you do, of course, great work as an editor in the world of baseball, but I know you do some interviewing as well on the side. So I'll open the floor to you to plug.
Yes, please, y'all. As y'all know, if y'all don't know, is that you can follow me on IG on Ron_Smith10. Use on it. You'll be see me chatting with fighters, with athletes, going up telling their stories. Because like at the end of the day, every person's got a story to tell. It's just my job to put it out there. And so
Yeah.
please, if you have good conversations, come find me. I promise you, it'll be a little fun.
Yeah, if you're a fan of professional fighting, definitely check out what Ron's doing over there. And as well as I know you're doing some like Comic Con anime stuff as well too. So if you like this episode, I'm sure Ron would be a great follow in that world too.
Those good people out there somehow, some way, credential me to get over there and go and
They hook
talk to
you
some
up.
people. Phew.
You
Look,
got the pass,
we
the
try.
insider credential, man. We'll start the episode as we always do with why.
Why me? Why did you pick me?
Ron, why did you want to talk about Your Name specifically with us?
It's that I remember you talked about, how y'all don't talk too much about animation. And literally, I was just thinking about that film. And like, I think it just came to me. And I was like, man, I haven't seen that movie in a real long minute. I just remember the time when I did see it. And I was going against it because of the hype. Like people at that time were like saying, like, oh, this is one of the
Very
greatest.
critically, very critically.
Yeah. Like everybody couldn't stop going on about it from when it was out in Japan and then was slowly coming into America. I was all like, honestly, I was all like, okay, y'all, calm the bricks down. Cause I know how you be on Twitter, guys. I know y'all hype two things to the moon. So I walked in and thinking like, it ain't gonna be that way. But I came out, I'm like, I didn't leave the theater. I didn't leave the theater. I just stayed like, yo, this was so good. So when you brought this up in conversation with me, I'm like, oh no, there's only one film we gotta watch. I need to hear, especially after I heard y'all say what you had to say about Ratatouille. So I'm like, I'm hoping
I
this can
was a
change your
hater.
thoughts.
This I will say right off the bat is a better animated film for me than Ratatouille. I'll already rank it higher. But it's funny you say, you just sit in the theater with it. This is a movie that definitely kind of ends right on a heavy note of like, wow, it has a great ending. Also, I'll just say it fits in nicely with some upcoming episodes that we're going to be covering here. Just a little tease for the future. Maybe Cody doesn't even really know what I'm talking about, but stay tuned. We might be former guest Christian Steiner might be making an appearance soon. He's suggested some anime movies as well, and then also, Avatar: The Last Airbender releasing on Netflix.
Ooh.
I mean, it'll already be out by the time this episode is out, so we'll be talking about that as well, I'm sure, in some capacity, Cody.
That's gonna be a trip. That's gonna be a trip.
It's something, and we'll talk more later in this episode about that for reasons. But let's get over to Do You Remember? Do you remember? Ron, do you remember? I guess you kind of alluded to it, but what do you remember about that first time seeing it?
I remember because I was at a time when I was working at a movie theater and we were all getting prepared for that. But the thing was too, it was selling out, and the people that worked at my job didn't get it because we had those Fathom events, and they were all like, "Why is this film so big? I don't know nothing about it," And I just remember I got the tickets early as I could, and I was telling anybody I could, like, "Look, this got some hype on it. I don't know if it's true, but it's got a lot of legs to it. And I think it might be something. But just in the time I remember walking in it, sitting down and just watching it for what it was, I don't remember the last time I got lost in a movie. Like, just really like thinking I knew where the movie was gonna go. I tried not to do it, but like you can't help yourself. But then when it went left, I was like, oh. And then I just said, okay, take me where you're gonna go. And when it was done, telling y'all, like, I never stopped smiling. And I think that was that feeling like it was worth it. It was worth every minute of it. Rarely I get those kind of feelings when I watch certain movies.
I'm envious that you got to see this in a movie theater, honestly, because we both had the at-home viewing experience for the first time. Was that first watch, was it the English dub that you saw? Do you remember?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So of course we did both watch the English dub as well. Kody, this was the first time you saw it. What can you tell me about it, man?
Yeah, this was definitely my first watch. Like I said off the bat, just to preface that too, like I'm not a big anime guy, I don't think in general, or at least yet. So I'm definitely gonna have to defer to Ron here as kind of the resident expert. But first watch wise, I mean, I did enjoy this a lot. Like you're saying, I kind of wish too I did see it in the theaters, just because visually too, I feel like that's kind of one of the standout things with this film. I really enjoyed it on the first watch. Like you're saying too, kind of story wise, which we'll get into a ton as well, but kind of just goes like an unexpected direction that I did not see coming at all. So I thought that was awesome, and a little bit of genre blend as well, which is always nice. But yeah, I did rent this on Amazon. I think that's where it's easiestly accessible at this moment. But they always do like re-releases and stuff. And this director, he's done like a recent film as well. So I'm a big Regal guy as well. My local Regal is always doing like those Fathom events. So I'll have to check out their schedule and maybe catch this sometime. But I did enjoy this a lot, kind of on my first watch overall, which I was surprised by.
Yeah, it's a fun first watch because I knew just basic that it was kind of like a romance story, but otherwise I didn't have any like plot details. So like it's very surprising that first time you kind of just experience, all the time travel body switch loopy nature of it. I didn't rent this on Amazon. I purchased this on Amazon because it was the same price to buy the digital copy off of Amazon as renting it. So I was like, you know what, I might as well. And it kind of we like to use current context to discuss the movies, and there's been some recent news, and I sent the article to Kody regarding like Funimation and Crunchyroll that's been happening recently. Ron, have you seen some of this stuff in the news?
Yeah, I haven't. It's sad to me because like I personally I always hate when like mergers happen with other companies, and because I believe competition is good. It's good to have it. It makes everything better.
Monopolies are bad.
So like just and seeing something that has been like for decades in like fandoms and just again fall into the umbrella of just big business. You know, it hurts because then who really loses at the end is the fans. The fans lose because then just you're stuck under one and it's only one place to get anything else. And unfortunately too, sometimes you force these people to also pirate because there are other ways for them to get their stuff.
This brings us into a much larger discussion about like Coyote versus Acme and studios holding the rights to things but not releasing them, and what is piracy good, allowed in certain. We could get into that, but specifically staying on the Funimation Crunchyroll thing for the listeners who might not know, Sony, who owns Funimation, both of these services are basically like anime streaming services. They're especially focused on animation.
Sony owns Funimation.
Sony buys Crunchyroll, which is basically the competitor of Funimation, and merges them together in 2021. They are officially announced the merger. They bought them in 2021 and officially announced the merger is happening this April. And basically they're migrating everything from Funimation over to Crunchyroll. The biggest thing with this is if you bought a physical media copy, a DVD, a Blu-ray, and you received it, a lot of times you would get, a digital code inside as well, where you would own the movie. And when you would do that, you would go on to Funimation to redeem that code, and you would supposedly own it for all eternity. I've got this copy of the movie. But what we found is now that these services are shutting down, all these people that believed they owned copies of the movies really don't. And it's something that we're seeing happen a lot with streaming services and the age of digital streaming. Like if you don't own a physical copy of a movie, like a real hard disc, there's a chance that it could be taken away from you and inaccessible. Disney Plus shows that have been produced specifically for Disney Plus have been like removed from the Disney Plus platform and can be found nowhere. Like, we live in a really interesting age of content. And I guess I just wanted to use this as a chance to kind of talk about that. I'll throw it over to you, Kody, first. What are your thoughts on this age of stuff being destroyed and stolen away from people because of streaming and digital copies?
I mean, it does suck, especially like you said too, in those specific instances where you did purchase a movie, and now just because big conglomerates are coming together and changing the streaming services, all of a sudden you don't own it. I think obviously that makes no sense, but I mean, like we're saying too, this is kind of just a common occurrence in this day and age of streaming. It's kind of just like unknown territory as well, just because we were led into this streaming era, and then now that everybody's kind
It
of
was a rush.
not. Well, it was a rush, but now I feel like a lot of these streamers are not doing very successful.
No, I mean, we saw reported this week Paramount and Peacock might be merging because of their fears.
Crazy.
And get ready for Mount Cock, people.
Oh gosh, that never ends.
Yeah, it's sad, but it'll be interesting kind of see where it goes. I guess, like you're saying, I mean, once you get to the monopoly stage, it's hard to go kind of anywhere else. So hopefully they don't kind of jack up the prices on the old Crunchyroll. But it'll be interesting to see where it goes. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's a point Ron brought up. When you don't have anywhere else to go, they have all the power, and they, like you said, they could jack up the price. Ron, are you a physical media guy? Do you have copies of things, or what's your stance on all this?
Look, I ain't no hypocrite, okay? If I was a hypocrite, my mama would come here and say, you lying, okay? I unfortunately, don't buy a lot of copies. My best friends do. We always get on that, and I'm part of the problem.
They tell you.
Okay. I'm part of the problem, because we go back and forth. They be like, man, why are you going to tell me to watch? I got the DVD right here. We can watch all the specials right here. I'm like, bro, just hop in. So you got to scratch on your disc, put on Netflix, put on HBO Max. It's there. You see, though, the consequences with it. Okay. It's come with the good, they'll come with the bad. And the bad is that they can say it when they want to have it, and it's theirs.
They have all the power.
Also, when they're shutting down stores, selling these DVD properties
Best
anymore,
Buy.
like, that's it. So you really got to dig to find these. So I'm part of the team of that. This was born and bred in this, and we are now living the consequences of it. So
we had it so nice for so long. We didn't realize. I've gotten into collecting, some DVDs and Blu-rays recently, but like, it's also an expensive thing to like
$20
really
sometimes, $25, $30.
So it's a tough proposition, but I'd say, like, if you have your favorites, like, get the things that you really love, because you never know what will happen. Let's throw it over to initial thoughts, and let's talk about this movie.
Good morning, Vietnam!
Kody, I know you were a big fan. I wanted to throw something at you. First of all, the director of the film said he was inspired by a lot of different things, but partially the movie Interstellar. What do you think about that? And what do you think about this movie?
I actually love that comparison. This movie kind of makes more sense for, love being able to like transcend across, places and stuff like that. So I like that. Anything inspired by Interstellar, I might not be a big fan of, but like we mentioned, first watch here, I really, really love this. And I'll just go over kind of some of the general things I like here, but off the bat, the music is amazing. Obviously I'm not a big anime expert. I'm guessing at the beginning of most of these kind of movies, they do kind of just like an intro song, kind of just going over, some of the general themes in the movie, maybe some plot stuff. But like that intro music for this one was absolutely balls to the wall. I loved it. It kind of just got the pace of the movie and kind of the tone of the movie right away. So I think like just the music overall was kind of my main thing, where I was like, dang, I did not expect it to be this good.
Music's really solid stuff. Ron, I'll throw it over to you.
Man, after seeing the film, I haven't seen in years. It's like me and an old friend. Like you just pick it up. Like, you don't see yourself for years on years, but you just pick up where you left off, and that's what it gave me again. And I think it was too, like, the little things that now because I remember each point of the film, but then the things I didn't really pick up. And again, I just sat there and just let it take me. And I'm like, man, like, this is just so good. I'm always blown away by the animation. Like, it's just drawn so good. And then just the characters, like, I'm laughing, I'm invested in everything they're talking about and the stupid jokes they're coming at me with. And then just everything that I'm left with at the end And I always say, man, like, I'm the kind of guy that if you hit me hard, I'm going to tear. I won't lie for you. So when they got me again, I was all like, come on, man. I know what's going to happen. Why are you guys doing this to me? That's why, because it's good, man. It's good.
It is a very touching love story. And I like what you said about rewatching it because I only imagine it would be better on the rewatch. Like,
Sure.
the story is a little confusing. It can get a little lost, but like once you let all that go away, in the same way of like an Interstellar, if you just kind of like let it wash over you and feel the emotion, it is really powerful. And it makes you think a lot about like it's a movie about like fate and predestination and like what is, you know, ending up together. And also like it's got the cool sci-fi time travel aspects that I really enjoy. Like if this was like pure magic mystic, like I wouldn't be as interested because it has that kind of the space comet and like all that stuff. I like it a lot. It's a cool mishmash of things I really enjoy. Some of the music loses me. I'll say this and I'll save it for the good, the bad, the ugly. But I'm in on some songs. I'm out on others.
I can't wait. I can't wait to hear this. I really can't wait.
Let's go over to IMDb Known For. So for this, I've got it pulled up here. We'll hit the director and then the voice actor for the English two main characters. So for the director, first of all, Makoto Shinkai, his For Suzume, which Kody, I think you alluded to earlier today, came out last year in 2020. Well, at this point, 2 years ago. Damn. Came out in 2022. And then his other three movies, Your Name, of course, Weathering with You, The Place Promised in Our Early Days are the four movies. Ron, I think we're gonna need your help on this.
Yeah,
got you.
Have you seen these other movies? Do you have any opinions on these? Because I have not.
Yes, as actually because I remember because Your Name was kind of like his big one, his blow up, and I saw Weathering with You and Suzume. I think I could be wrong, but I know Suzume was probably nominated. Well, both films were nominated for awards and stuff. But I think Suzume was just recently nominated for like other in these past awards that came up a few times to me. And look, you got some diehard fans. You know, when you watch them, they have the same kind of beats to them. They're good. They're okay though. You know, like beautiful films. But like, especially Suzume, when I saw it, and again, was getting like the same kind of word of mouth of like how amazing it is. I walk out of it, I'm like, it's okay. It's all right. And I think it's just one of those that it's hard, man. It's hard when you knock a film out the park, and then you got to follow up with the next ones. And no matter what, you might be like, it's good, but it's not that thing. Also, it could be on me trying to compare it to the past, and that's my fault with it.
Definitely hard to recapture that same magic, I imagine, especially if the one that like first really drew you in. Suzume, like from the trailers, the animation did look incredible, and I was hoping to check it out. I just never got the chance. We'll move over to Michael Sinterniklaas, and he is the voice actor for Taki. And so here are his the four things he's done: Your Name, The Venture Bros, Tiger and Bunny, and the 2003 to 2010 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles series, where so basically and I'll throw it over for Masua's character as well. It's Stephanie Shi. Her for Your Name, Bleach, Naruto Shippuden, and Sailor Moon Crystal. The thing is about both these voice actors for the English dub is that they're just like straight up voice actors. Like all their credits are as, you know, different bit parts and different animated things. And like, they're just real voice actors. Whereas like, even I feel like now, if this movie came out, the English dub might be full of, you know, famous person this, famous person that. But these people are like really talented, and they're, you know, their job is specifically to do their work here. I don't really have any additional thoughts about either of these people because like their roles are pretty small, but it is cool to see like, you know, Naruto and Sailor Moon pop up for Stephanie.
I thought they were really good too. I wanted to say that about kind of both the main actors. Like I said, I mean, if it was more in the modern age, I think The Boy and the Heron is a really good example where it's kind of hyped up a little bit.
Michael did perform additional voices in The Boy and Heron, so he was there in the choir helping out. So he's around.
Involved. I love that, but yeah, I think they could have gone like balls to the wall cast if it, you know, was kind of coming out at the right time. But I think they still got really good people to do it. So regardless,
let's move on over to the good, the bad, and the ugly. we're gonna start with our good. Ron, I'll let you get us started. What's the good stuff, my man?
Oh my goodness gracious, man! Y'all got time? Golly, the good is really just it's the characters. One thing I believe it's always hard for film is to make you care. Especially when it's like a coming of age film of kids, and like they want you to like them. And so half the time, kids are annoying. So it's hard to write good kids, and then just make you think of them as what they are in the film. And I care about them. I care about each character that's in this film, and some of it you would think that, oh, it's what your first loves, like all that young John. Like, I feel like some people will be torn off by that or be like just push that aside. But then when it dives more into the film, you really get invested in other journeys because you see it's way deeper than just love. It's more about just finding that person, but also finding yourself on it. So like, man, that's what gets me, y'all. That's what like really connects me with it.
Yeah, and I mean, I love like particularly the fact of like the small town girl who wants to go to the big city. She yearns to live in Tokyo, and then of course you have all of the greater tragedy that's sucked up so deep into this stuff. I'll throw it over to you, Kody. I'm sure there's a lot more that Ron and I can talk about. But what's your first good thing?
No, I agree. Just bouncing off what you're saying too. I think a really good thing, just story wise, is sort of that commentary in the first half hour or so of like, what it looks like in the big city versus what it looks like in the small town, and how the grass is always kind of greener on each side of, they kind of want to switch places, but when they end up switching places, which I think is a really cool plot point as well. It's kind of like Freaky Friday, but with more like ground rules involved.
Yes.
And but like the fact that they're switching places, they kind of just get to know each other instantly because you have to be them for a full day. I feel like that would be incredibly difficult. But another thing too, I mean, just the plot in general, I think is awesome. Because like we're saying, I mean, the first half hour, you're kind of laughing, you're just getting good vibes. It's kind of just like a high school story. And then once you get deeper into the movie, it kind of really digs into your heart a little bit. I mean, the first plot point where my kind of guess was like, oh, they're in like different time periods, which is kind of correct, but it's more of just like, oh, this whole town was wiped off the face of the earth by this crazy comet. So kind of that plot point specifically really kind of just like hit your heartstrings off the bat. And then you're kind of hoping like, oh, like, is this relationship even going to be viable? Because, in theory, this girl isn't even alive. So I think just like switching back and forth between, like tones, the seriousness and then the comedy, I think it's just really well handled going kind of back and forth between those.
It balances it really well. I think this is like a great version of, the star-crossed lovers, not to be too literal here, but like they're fated to be together. And I love that they do end up together. Like if this story was like they're not, she is gonna be dead and they're gonna be forever, sad, I wouldn't love it as much. But the fact is, like, it does have a happy ending. I think it does navigate that thing that you're talking about, Ron, of where like it could be for kids or it could be like annoying teens, and it is like a teen movie and they feel like genuine teenage characters, but it's not annoying or like overly high school and dramatic. Like it still can connect with three people who are older like us. The body swap stuff is really cool. Something that I love about it is just it feels different than any other body swap kind of that I've seen, where like the first time we don't even really get to experience what happens in that first day. We're just dealing with like the aftermath of her like, man, you were really weird yesterday. And she's like, what? Like, I don't even remember what you're talking about. I had a strange dream. So like, just like the kind of the flip and the way it kind of like is constantly changing the perspective of like what stage of body swap we're in that first like 20-30 minutes, I think is really unique and fun.
Along with it, I think maybe the reasoning too that it does feel unique, even though like I've seen a bunch of body swap movies. It's kind of just like you're body swapping in between genders, which I feel like could be dangerous. But they kind of addressed that right away with him groping her boobs immediately, which I think is really funny. And but like that character introduction, that's like the first time we see like Mitsuha on screen, and she's just like feeling herself up. I'm like, what is going on in this scene? But then I feel like on a rewatch specifically too, like those first few kind of days where they're swapped would be a lot more effective, just because they play up kind of the mystery of what's going on, who are these people. I agree too. The other thing I heard kind of about coming into this movie was like it was like super sad. So I was worried they weren't going to end up together. But I wanted to ask you too, Ron, because with this director, I think he makes like similar type of movies where it's just like star-crossed lovers, but the kind of body swap was kind of the difference between what he normally does.
Yes, 100%. And that's what I mean when I said before about like he's got similar beats in his other films. Again, he has a fan base. You know, he has a loyal fan base of his films, and you know they'll ride with him for that. But there are different things, you know, in the other movies he makes. But yeah, to Starcross a lot.
Two people that gotta push each other out of a shell, explore the world, expand.
Young love, you know that experience.
We'll figure it out. Of course, the animation is incredible. We've all said it. My background, I love all of the comet stuff. It looks just so beautiful, and like it's the opening shots of the movie, and you're just like, oh wow, that looks awesome. And then, like you said, Cody, about an hour in or halfway through the movie, you're like, oh fuck, that's what that was. Oh shit, like it really hits hard, and you're like, wow, that's not as pretty as I thought it was. It's kind of a terrible destructive force. But
imagine being in a theater. Imagine being in a theater when that happened, when everyone noticed what was. Literally, all I heard was oh, and then after that, we're all just like,
it's felt.
Yo, what's going on? What's going on?
That's the one specific shot too where you can see like the comet coming down and they like focus in on her eye and you can kind of see that. Absolutely awesome. And all the woodland shots, I like almost paused it a couple of times being like is that an actual like woods or is that actual animation? Like it was that good. I was surprised.
Yeah, and I mean, of course, the actual destruction is just like it's powerful.
Crazy.
Yeah, the sound too. The sound is awesome. It's like Oppenheimer levels of kind of explosion sounds, which is cool.
100%.
I mean, look, we already said about the animation, the music. My goodness gracious, the score on this film. My gosh, and it just
the score has a nice variance to it. They play with different instruments, which I think works really well.
Especially when they go from scene to scene, to like the different points in the film. If each song kind of felt up the vibe of what was going on in the moment, especially the build up to when those tense moments during the film, because like you feel you're feeling your heart like, oh my gosh. That's what I feel like the score should do. It should make you feel like you're entwined about what's going on the whole movie.
I had one other good too. I'm sorry. I just want to shout out another kind of just plot point that I really, really liked. Obviously, it's the whole star-crossed lovers thing, and they both kind of go and try and find each other. But I really like kind of the time jump where it's like a 3-year difference, obviously. And when she goes and tries to find him in Tokyo that one day, she does find him, but they don't know each other yet. I thought that like little small detail it's kind of just like really good writing and a really cool thing to include.
Yeah, because it shows you that moment as like one of the opening scenes of the movie.
Yeah,
and you think like, oh, so this is like the connection and maybe the reason why they're having the body swap thing. But no, it's like even deeper than that. That she was already going to find him and make that connection. Of course, he wears the bracelet from her, which is adorable.
Southern strings, come on now.
I would say 2 out of moving over to the bad. I would say 2 out of 4 of the songs don't work for me.
Oh, here we go.
I like the first one and the third one. So I'll say the intro song, I'm hooked. Like I think that's really awesome. It's kind of like pop punky a little bit. And you get to meet both the characters. It kind of plays with like the mirroring motifs to a certain extent. The second one is like the time lapse weird needle drop where it's like them setting them up all the rules and they're kind of like arguing back and forth. I just don't think that scene works as well, and I don't love the song. Then the last one when they're like walking and they like realize
don't you be talking.
The song I don't think is as good as the other ones.
Wow.
I'll say.
Can't believe.
I'm sorry. That's just I gotta come with Ratatouille. I brought the hot takes as well.
I didn't think you were gonna come with the second punch over here. Oh my
50% they had.
That's one of the most popular ones. The last one. Oh my goodness gracious! Score. Carp.
I have a cold heart. I don't know what to say.
I'm surprised by that too. I thought the last one was definitely my favorite.
Start was really. I think it gets better. The start, I was like, oh, this is really bad. We get there. When the title hits and then the credits roll, that works for me. I'll say that.
Fair enough. I think a controversial take there, along with all of your takes about Ratatouille, but
I gotta have a couple. Cody, what do you got for the bad, man?
Yeah, my main bad, it's twofold. First off,
twofold.
Dude, I don't really love her dad, kind of his character in the mayoral role. He's kind of just like a dick. I guess you need some sort of like antagonistic force to be pretty strong in this. But I thought he was kind of just an asshole the entire time.
He was Jared.
Yeah, I get, his backstory is sad, like his wife died
Representative
and
of
stuff, but
the bureaucracy. I feel like that's prevalent in a lot
Yeah.
of like Japanese films, these kind of figurehead types and this
yeah. And he kind
government.
of ditched his family too, so that's tough.
Yeah,
My-
not a
my-
great guy.
my
He's
big
shady
thing-
with the contractor.
My big thing actually was there's kind of like some amnesia stuff in a sense where they're forgetting each other's names. Obviously that's the title and everything. But I don't know, that kind of just
It
pissed
doesn't
me
work for
off
me
at the
either.
end. It's like
Oh
I
my
don't-
goodness.
they should have just
Oh my-
wrote
oh
each
my-
other's names down like they
Well, they
planned.
tried.
Oh, don't
But
do
then she
that.
writes, "I
Don't
love
do
you,
that.
Cody."
Oh my goodness gracious.
The "I love you" reveal on the hand is good. I'll give them that. But yeah, I feel like if there was less amnesia, it'd probably just be like 10 minutes shorter, which would probably be better.
I agree. The amnesia loses me, especially when it's like the text messages getting removed from the phone. like,
Yeah, all the
disappearing.
logs, all
I don't
disappearing. It's
know.
like,
Like the
come
rules,
on.
the rules are
Y'all wouldn't feel
inexplicable
that?
for a
Y'all wouldn't feel
reason.
that?
And it's again the thing of like, if you just, it's more emotional than logical. And Interstellar is a good comparison
I
because
don't like
like
the
that
Interstellar
that movie
comparison.
just doesn't work like on a logical sense sometimes. But like if you just like let the story and the power of the connection overcome you, you can feel it. One other thing I'll say is like at the end, I almost wish there was like a reason for them to be forced together rather than been just like happenstance on the streets of Tokyo. They passed each other because I hate that it's like, oh, finally after 5 years they wandered across each other. I wish it was something like she felt compelled to keep returning to the restaurant that they worked at or the coffee shop, and then like maybe he had some reason to go back there, and then they had a meeting because of again like a reasoning rather than the ending just kind of just being like, oh, little chance thing. That's my big complaint about the ending.
That's pretty nitpicky, I'm not gonna lie. But
For what's such a cyclical and tightly knit story, I feel like there could have been one more level of that connection or that urge to be together. Because I hate it that it's like a time jump of just like, well, they had to go about their lives for 5 years. Like that's
yeah, time jumps are usually pretty lazy, but fair enough. Ron, did you have any negative you wanted to
yeah. I
shout out
mean,
here?
what do you got? You got to find something bad here. I know we were going crazy.
First off, I don't know what I walked myself into because I think y'all is over here was just looking for
nonsense.
something. I think y'all was looking for problems.
You
in
gotta
this
find
film.
something.
Have you heard the people? They said it's perfect. But since I had to dig, right?
We've been doing this a while, Ron. We always find the
Yeah.
bad stuff. You
Oh, breaks my heart to hear all this. But I guess the one thing to really, if I had to say a nitpick on this film, and something I'm like, it was more, I think, just the ending. 'Cause I kind of go with you, Corbin, when you were talking about it. I was like, how do we do this though? Like, I'm all
It's
for
tough.
meeting with each other, in the end. But like, as they grew up. You look at them, you're looking outside the train, and you're like, oh, wait a minute. That's you. Oh, that's you. Like, okay, guys. All right. I it still tugged me, but then when I was watching over it and then seeing everybody go on the daily lives and moving, it kind of felt like, the movie was like, we have to finish this up. You have to wrap
Yeah.
it to get them together to do it.
gotta force them together.
And
Even if it was just them back at the train station, I think that would work for me too. It's just
Yeah.
weird that it's like random street on a like night, like they just pass each other.
yes, I see that. I get it on it. But and another thing too is I think this movie would have been better off if the dad, as you point out, was a little bit more fleshed out. I felt like we had to hurry up to tell us why is he so stern, but still he didn't talk too much with her. Even if he's abandoned himself from the family, it would have been good to see him like go through it for ourselves, like show don't tell on that stuff. And because he's a jerk. He's stern, he's cold, he's pushed off on both his daughters, like, but still, like, he was still of the human in him. But no, it's like, no, politician bad, evil man. He's cold and locked off.
Yeah, I mean, even his character introduction is kind of terrible, where it's like he's talking on the side of the road, and her friends are like, "Oh yeah, there's your dad, the mayor." Like
Yeah.
they like really let us know who he is. So I agree with both of you that the dad character could use some work. Let's jump over to the ugly. This is again hard to find. You could point out like the groping and the waking up and the body swap, but like let's be honest, like that's like just a reality of this movie, and like if that's what would happen, like on both ends, like you wake up in a
In
I
a
mean,
new
I think
body. You're
it's the
like,
thing
what
that
the
everyone
heck
always
is
talk about.
this?
What would you do if you woke up in another person's body? And they represent it very accurately.
You're gonna
Taki's
freak
like,
out.
I'm gonna see what's
Exactly.
going on.
That was my main big thing too, and I think just like story wise, that is kind of what makes it a little bit different and unique. Is doing a love story with a body swap and using alternate genders. But I agree too, like even the groping stuff, that is like ultra realistic, I think, of what would actually happen. So I like that overall. Again, we're kind of there's not much to play with here, but mine kind of revolved around her dad being a dick and a little bit of kind of physical abuse. Along with I didn't like too in that scene you were talking about his introduction where he's like, "Hey, Mitsuha, stand up straight when
Stand
you're
up straight."
walking." It's like you're just a dick to be a dick in this one. But yeah, most of the ugly was just around kind of her dad character overall.
You know what? I didn't pick it up when I first watched it, but what's the boy's name? I mean, his name is Taki.
Yeah.
I know that he worked in the restaurant, right? Okay. I didn't really put two and two in my head at the time. His coworker that he went out with, she's way older than him. Because in the end, he's still in high
She's
school.
the big boss.
He's 17 years old. And
Miss.
also gets he's 24 years old. I'm like, wait a minute.
That's a good point, Ron.
Wait
I didn't think
a
about that,
minute.
yeah.
Don't we all got that conversation back in HR? We ain't supposed to be doing this.
Because all
And
of his
she's all like-
boys are like, this is weird, and she's coming on to him.
And then she's all like, oh yeah, you asked me out on a date. Let's go do that. I'm like, what?
But she's also like, I like you because you've got a feminine spirit to you. It's like,
See,
okay.
those are the things, man. I was like, wait,
It's a
no
very
one's
good
gonna
point.
step. Okay, you know what? All right, fine. But hey, in the end though, she got married to somebody else.
They were home.
That is
Yeah,
great.
she was just a wingman, is what it was. They were friends.
Like you said, she wanted to help him out.
What I wanted to bring up in the ugly, which isn't really ugly about this movie, but it's something that is happening. They're making a live action adaptation of this film, or at least
Oh wow.
they're attempting to. We'll see if it ever happens.
There we go.
But Cody, you'll love this one. J.J. Abrams, Bad Robot Productions, is
wow.
involved in the. I don't think he's directing it, but they're the production company behind it. This Moana 2, Avatar: The Last Airbender. This is where it's coming back up.
Talk about it.
Animation in general, we don't need live action versions of, but especially when it's like the hyper stylized, Spider-Verse, this anime, like where it's like, what's great about this is that you could never capture something like this in real life. Doing it in live action is just killing the magic of it and sucking any life out of it. It just becomes something it's about money and greed, and it really sucks. I honestly hope they never do make a live action. Like, it is a cool concept, and I think like maybe you could do something if you like completely just like take the basic story nugget and turn it into like something else, but like doing a Your Name adaptation is going to be bad.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Even though like I like J.J. Abrams, hearing he's attached doesn't help too much. It's kind of just like, how are you going to make this better than what we got here? I don't see kind of a version that, I guess you could bring it to a different, setting and stuff. But I feel like with such likable characters and like this plot is kind of airtight in my eyes, Loki, I would not be excited to see that. So that does kind of disappoint me that they're even looking into that.
Look, I'd rather go back and watch Madam Web again. Okay, ever see you hurt something I love too much to go what you do it with Your Name. Like I'm sick of it, man.
J.J.
really
Abrams also just like not the person I want to see.
Yeah, it's really not a
Who
good
thinks
choice.
that? It's like, come on. There's something like you guys brought it up. When something is just perfect, why touch it? Why do anything other? Just because people always say
see the dollar signs.
And then you got the people out there who be like, well, now it's live. Now that it's gonna be in real life, now it's really good. Now it's gonna be important, because that's what a lot of people think of animation. They still look at it as for kids. They look at it as an entity that is not meant to take seriously. When we all know there's a lot of things you can't do in real life with animation. There are beats that you can only tell with animation. But it's unfortunate that the big wigs on the Ivy Towers, they're like, ugh, how popular that's that thing? Re-up with that, make that money. Fortunate.
Yeah, I mean, diminishes the power of animation. It's basically just saying this is lower art, and it really sucks. I wouldn't be surprised if it never happens, to be honest.
Keep it wrapped up and put away.
Stick it in the vault. We're gonna take a quick break, and then we'll be right back.
Thanks for listening to the episode. You can follow the rest of our happenings over here at Kody and Korbin Have a Podcast on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at KHAP Podcasts, KHAPODCAST. Please follow us on Spotify, give us a rating, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and follow along for more.
And we're back with Invite, Fight, Night.
Totally invite your personal friend, Spider-Man.
I want to fight you. Hans. Bobby. I'm your white knight.
Who do you want to invite on the pod? Who do you want to fist fight? And who do you want to knight as your best friend? We'll start with you, Kody. Who do you want to invite on the episode from the movie Your Name?
I love my invite here. It's a character we have not mentioned yet, but it is Mitsuha's grandmother, who
You
I think
stole it
is-
from me.
Oh, my bad. She's kind of the spiritual center of the movie and just seems unbelievably wise. She's got kind of all the lore that I would want to know more about. She's got the backstory with Mitsuha's parents as well, which I want to hear more info on. So I think she'd be the perfect invite here.
Yeah, I was gonna second that. She knows about the body, so like she saves that information for quite a
Yeah.
while. She waits to reveal it.
Convenient. Yeah.
But she's clearly got the info that we need, so we can get the amnesia explained, maybe, and maybe we'll just like this movie a lot better if we get her on the pod. Ron, who do you want to invite on?
I ain't gonna lie, okay. I would love to bring Yotusha, her little sister, little sister.
Yeah.
She was a blast. I forgot how funny this girl, because she had the exact reactions of everything that was happening to her sister. I would. I'll be going back in the kitchen and be like, she's touching herself again. I don't know what's going up in her room right now, my grandma. I just gotta get out of here. Okay. Meet me back in school. Okay. I think she'd be a blast, because I think she would just give me the same amount of energy I need every time. So, like, please come on through.
I love that pick. Moving over to fight, I was gonna say like the grandma is borderline. I do want to fight her because I feel like if maybe she explains the whole body swapping thing a little earlier, solves a lot of problems in the movie. But it's obvious that the mayor dad is the one who deserves it. He's a dick, and in the end, like he takes a lot of convincing to get the evacuation plan to happen. So I think he's well deserved.
They were pushing to the end of the finish line, and he still wouldn't budge. I'm like, what else do you want from us?
Kody, who do you want to throw down with?
Funny enough, I mean, that is the obvious pick. I actually wanted to go after her younger sister, Yotisha.
What are we talking about?
And the only reason was
Unfair.
just the way that she woke her up. Like, if my sister did that, slamming my door open every day.
We in a rush. We gotta go. We gotta go to school. We gotta go eat. Trying to help you. You
That is
fight
fair.
this?
But I
Got
would have
some
beef.
fucking idiot boy in your body just taking you over.
I'd have beef with her
going.
for doing that. So yeah, I think just one hit for that. I think is my pick here.
You gonna throw the pillow at her? I can't believe it, man.
Facts.
Ron, who's deserving of your fists?
Listen here, okay. I think you brought up. I'm seconding you on that. I'm taking out the dad. Okay. Look, man. This is your girl. This is your daughter. Okay. How in the world are you gonna be this? There's a difference between being a stern dad, a tough dad, but also being a caring dad. You've been being a jerk.
Who's not caring?
Like, not even in the sense. And everything that she would go to the even when it was all said and done, you still didn't feel like, oh, I'm sorry. I see what you did there. No, it was just that. Come on, man.
Yeah, there really wasn't even a moment of redemption or anything for him. Let's say the Comet probably is deserving of a fist fight too. But
You
I
all
don't
thought
think
it
I
was
could
something
take
beautiful, but they said, oh, no, I'm going to split up into a whole maguma on y'all.
it. Cosmic
My
entity
gosh.
of destruction. Fuck that Comet. The Night. Speaking of cosmic entities, Alt Night, Twilight, Golden Hour clearly has a lot of power in this movie. I'm a big fan of taking some, photos during the Golden Hour, make the eyes pop. It's a beautiful thing. So all night, just sunset. Feeling abstract today.
Interesting.
Kody, what do you think?
I love Magic Hour. I back that completely. My night, I'm gonna knight Mitsuha for specifically setting up the date with Taki and that girl. I mean, she's just a good wingman overall too. So yeah, I thought she was dope for that. And alone for that, pretty much I want to knight her.
Yeah, she does that, and then like when Taki's in her body, he's got like girls falling in love with her, confessing to love. So not as good of a wingman, sadly. Ron, who do you want tonight?
Oh, 100%. Mitsuda's best friends, both of them. Like they thought her plan was crazy. They all believed that this was nuts, but she completely they bought in. They helped everything. You get yourself a best friend who will literally go out their way to blow up an electric tower just to make sure to stop something, a comment you may think or may not happen. Right? And she had another friend that go up to the radio station to put the announcement.
They're huge.
Definitions of ride dies.
Oh yeah. I was gonna also shout out the two people at the diner who like recognized the town and directed them. Obviously, that leads to a heartbreaking reveal, but those guys clutch. I mean, they're the little trio of friends. They're journeying across the Japanese countryside, desperately looking for this non-existent city. And shout out to the diner owners, and they gave him the ride too. They're like, oh yeah, well we know where it's at. We'll hook you up.
Right there. I respect that so much.
Good people. The recast.
Bond. James Bond. My name's Bond. James Bond.
The name's Bond. James Bond.
The name's Bond. James Bond.
This is really tough. I'll let you start, Ron. Did you have something you wanted to swap in, or?
I really didn't. Like everything.
It's a tough one.
It's tough. Yeah.
Gosh, like honestly, nothing. Nothing into me was actually everything that was given to me was perfect. So this is one I'm like, I don't want to touch it. I don't want to touch anything that's what I've seen from it.
I think that's fair. Kody, did you have anything?
I did have one, and I mean, like Ron said, it's so tough because director-wise, I feel like the story just lines up with him kind of great. The main cast, I thought acting-wise, even with the English stuff, was fine. I kind of just went after the dad again. I just wanted to replace his English dub. And I said bring in Ken Watanabe. I think he's awesome, and he can kind of have a little bit more menace, but also maybe have a little bit more of a soft side for him as well. So maybe a little character rewrite along with the recast. But
yeah, give him a couple more lines.
Yeah. Did you have any major recast you want to go after?
I really didn't. I know we just harped on why they shouldn't do a live action adaptation, but I did want to pitch if they're gonna do it. The Daniels, directors of Everything Everywhere All at Once. They can do the VFX. They can do like the level of like kind of like sci-fi and hyper, not hyper realism, but like the magic of it all. I think they could capture that in a certain way, while still bringing it to live action. So if we're gonna do it, let's over a J.J. Abrams produced project, whatever the fuck that is. Like,
don't put ideas in their head. Don't do it, because then once you do that, then it's gonna be some good idea, and it actually can be really, really good. Don't do that, Korbin. Don't put that in the hemisphere.
Rating.
Do you like me?
Out of 69, of course, on our crazy system. I'm gonna give this movie a 55 out of 69, which I think I agree with you, Kody. It's a 4-star movie. Really solid, fits in well with a lot of ones we have. Where do you put it on your scale, Kody?
It's kind of similar to our last episode as well, where I think just talking about it more, I kind of do like the movie a little bit more. So originally I had it at a 60 out of 69, but I think I'm going to bump it up to a 61 out of 69. Like I said, I think plot-wise, this is one of the favorite things I've seen in a while. Absolutely beautiful. Music is banging. So this is a great recommendation. I think if you've not seen this movie, go check this out as well.
Ron, finish us off. Is this a perfect score for you?
Listen. 69 is A++, right? Is what we're saying?
It's top tier. It's hard to get.
And there ain't nothing else it deserves to be. 69 is on the top.
I love to hear that, Ron.
This film, y'all, I tell you, to me, a perfect film always is that I don't get bored, and I still feel the same feelings I felt the moment I saw it prior. And man, y'all, still got that juice. It's perfect on perfect.
Ron, when our guests come and they bring their favorite movie and they come in and they say it's a 69 out of 69, I respect the hell out of that, because you're a man who knows himself and knows what he likes. Shout out to Jake Ross and Jack Laub for their 2 episodes where they actually gave their favorite movies perfect scores. Some people get it. Everyone else being hypercritical. Even Josh last week had to bump that one down to a 68. He couldn't go all the way there.
Shake my head.
You might also like.
Who knows? You might like it. It's a killer rush.
If you like Your Name, what would you recommend, Kody?
Like I said, I'm kind of an anime noob, so I feel like there'd be a ton of recommendations off that. But just my specific recommendations.
You need the Rex.
Yeah. Other than those, I would say first off, Romeo and Juliet, the Leo version, and Claire Danes. I think it's Baz Luhrmann directed, which sucks, but I can think Claire Danes is just awesome in that movie, and kind of has similar themes of just like obviously long lost love, kind of depressing at the end. So I guess if you wanted to see a darker ending, I would recommend that. And then the other thing too would be Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, which I think is just a really great kind of modern classic, sort of similar kind of love story on that side of things too. So I kind of went the love direction here and kind of just like, offbeat rom-coms, I think.
I'm about halfway through Terminator 3, so shout out to Claire Danes on that front, Cody.
Yeah, after that movie, her career went downhill, but she's awesome in Romeo and Juliet. So
I'm also not a huge anime fan. The one anime movie that I do really like a lot is Akira. It's not really related to this one in theme at all, but if you want to get into the world of anime, that's a sick action movie that I would definitely recommend checking out. And then About Time is a movie that deals with similar like sci-fi, time travel, making the best of every day kind of themes. And it's a great love story. So Donald Gleason, Rachel McAdams, definitely would recommend checking that one out. Ron, what would you recommend? Got anything for Cody and I to check out to expand our anime knowledge?
I got some gems for y'all. Y'all need some gems. Don't worry about it. Okay. First off, you want something that's kind of like a link to it, because these two movies kind of came around the same time with each other, is A Silent Voice. This film is, if I tell you, if y'all loved Your Name, you're going to even love this film 10 times more, because Silent Voice to me was a film that I literally broke down watching. And it still is one of those films that like I don't want to go out my way to watch it every day, but when I do watch it, I'm like, yo, I'm so happy I saw this. It's so good. It deals with so much about something I don't want to say. I don't want to spoil enough for y'all, but it just deals with so much about growing, about forgiveness, and then when you get to the big points of it, it just locks you in. Even after that, though, I would highly recommend also Wolf's Children. I got off the feel of it, of the life of just about biracial children, but also too the theme of just being a mom, a mother's love, what a mom would always do for their children. And man, it hits, y'all. It's so good. But the last one I want to throw out there, if I could, is from a classic, is just from the Studio Ghibli film library, Grave of the Fireflies. And look, I always, when people ask me about my favorite Studio Ghibli films, it's always Grave of the Fireflies. And it wasn't even made by Hayao Miyazaki, but it's great. It's great. Another one that is, you're not gonna want to rewatch it tomorrow after you watch it, because you're gonna want to go to bed or just go outside and look at the clouds and be like, man, life is hard, y'all. It hits in the heartstrings so much, but it's beautiful. It's heart-wrenching, top tier, great film to watch. If you haven't seen it, check that out.
Appreciate those Rex. Definitely.
Yeah,
Wolf
gonna have
Children.
to put most of those on my list because
listen,
yeah,
you're gonna love it. Again, go to sleep. Go hang out with your friends the next day, because like they're gonna hurt your heart.
We'll put a pen in Silent Voice. Might come back to that in a later episode. Little tease. And then Wolf Children, I'll have to check that. I'm not even familiar with that at all, so I got to do some looking in. So love the shout outs, Ron. The final question.
All right, listen, I got one last question for you.
Wrapping up on Your Name, we haven't talked about this at all, but would you guys drink the spit sake? Would you drink the fermented spit? What do you think? Ron, I'll start with you.
Listen. That reaction was saying right now, I ain't gonna drink your spit. You know I don't know you from Adam. You gonna want me to do that? Come on.
Inside of her body, so I mean,
I'll be like, you better. After that, if I find out that was your spit in that drink, I'd be like, don't ever talk to me again. Okay, I'll throw that straight in your face. Never ever. I don't care what you do.
Cody, are you pro spit over there?
It's tough. I mean, in normal situations, I would agree with Ron, but I think like in this movie's context, it does kind of make sense. In theory, like her spit is kind of your spit at the same time. So it's a weird situation, but 99% of the time, I think I would agree with Ron. Yeah.
Glad we didn't expose anybody here too heavily. Cody, what's your final question?
Well, my one, it kind of had more with kind of awards and stuff. So I was looking, I believe this movie was released in 2016. So in theory, it would be available at the 2017 Oscars. And I was surprised it didn't get a nomination. But my question to you guys would be, should this have been nommed? And do you think it had a good shot to win against this field of Zootopia, Kubo and the Two Strings, Moana, and then these last two I didn't know. It was The Life as a Zucchini and The Red Turtle. So I guess out of those five, do you think it should have replaced one? And do you think it would have had a shot to win?
I have only seen one of those movies, to be entirely honest. So,
Oh wow, you haven't seen
I haven't seen
Zootopia or
Moana.
Moana?
I haven't
You haven't seen Moana? Oh
I've
my
seen
goodness.
Zootopia.
You've seen Kubo either? I'm sad.
Yeah. So like, I don't have a huge opinion on this, but I think it's pretty deserving. This is like probably one of the better movies released in the year 2016. So I don't know. Ron, have you seen these five?
The only two I haven't seen. I know Red Turtle. I just never had a chance to see it. I remember the zucchini. I just didn't see
The
it.
poster, I'm looking at it, and it's
look great.
It looks familiar.
But 1000%, 100%, this film deserved to be nominated. And if you're just competing against like just Moana and Zootopia, I love, you understand, I love those two movies. The music, Moana, top tier. Zootopia, one of my top films. But this film beats them out. Definitely was a full-on, don't come here because we know he can crush us kind of story. So I'm like,
yeah,
dang, put him in.
I do agree. I think the snub for the nomination is pretty excessive. And I would agree. I think between Zootopia and this would be kind of a tough choice. But yeah, the fact that it even wasn't considered is kind of a joke, I think.
Maybe in the year 2024 this gets a nomination. I don't know. Even
I would
anime,
think so.
even now, anime like is still not prevalent at the Oscars, despite being even more international than ever before. But I don't know. Ron, what is your final question?
I think after this experience that you two gentlemen had to walk in through with this, I would love to know now, through all of this, though, do you all feel that, would you now want you get yourselves more into anime after seeing this?
It's a great question. I'll kick us off. I would say 100% yes. Just because it kind of did subvert, all of the expectations I had for it. And especially going into like Studio Ghibli stuff, because I've seen some of that, but I feel like more deep diving into kind of more unknown things would be a good route to go to. But I completely say yes. I think this did inspire me a little bit to kind of go out and venture out and look into a bunch of stuff. So I think it's a great pick.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I will probably never get into the TV world of anime or like the serialized, let's watch 1,000 episodes of
come on now, so easy.
Blank,
come on now.
Blank, whatever. But it will continue to be more open to, watching anime movies like this, and especially stuff that, like Kody said, is not okay, everybody knows Studio Ghibli, but like what's beyond that. And I want to continue to take those chances whenever I can to see those movies. Kody, you mentioned stuff gets re-released in theaters whenever, Akira, I watched that for the first time because it was at the Alamo Drafthouse in New York City, and I, wanted to hop on it. So I'm always looking out, and you gave us a couple recs today, Ron. So we've got the stuff to bring to the top of the list. So
that's what I do. That's why I'm brought here, guys. That's why you need to help out with the help outs. Come on now.
We'll move on over to the 3-movie mini draft.
Well, it is draft day.
We are doing non-Pixar, non-Disney animated movies. So we're each going to draft a team of 3. Ron, you'll get the first pick. Kody, you'll get the second pick. And then I'll wrap up a little snake draft style at the end. What's your number 1 overall pick here?
I think you guys have probably seen this, but like, was it, I think it's called, Puss in Boots Last Wish. That
like
film, and the thing is, I didn't want to see it because like, I saw the first Puss in Boots and I'm like, it was just whack. Like, it's just not that interesting. But everybody that I knew, they're like, you don't understand. This is different. It's not the same movie. And just watching it for the first time, first of all, guys, that villain, just the villain. Oh,
pretty good villain.
My God. And how they broke down Puss in Boots as a character, a whole character study of just, his anxiety, of just dealing with stuff like that. And then just him going through the experience of the whole movie. Yo, I slept on it, had to catch up on it.
I think I told you, Ron. I was like, this one's good. You got to check it out. We of course did an episode about it as well with my sister. So if you're listening to this, go check that out. Kody, you got the number 2 pick. What are you taking?
Yeah, Puss in Boots is high on my list as well. Just the animation style, I think, is awesome with that. I think I'm gonna go with Fantastic Mr. Fox for my first pick.
That's what I wanted.
I'm a big Wes Anderson guy. I might steal Isle of the Dogs later if it's still there, but I think this is a classic. Obviously, the voice cast is amazing, leading off with the Clue Man. And it's kind of just a great coming of age story from kind of somewhere you don't expect it. So one of my favorites, definitely take Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Really solid. I'm surprised neither of you went Spider-Verse in the first 2 picks.
Come on,
I didn't even think about it.
I couldn't do it to it.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna take Across the Spider-Verse. I will take Across versus Into, despite Into being a more complete story. I just think like how compelling Across the Spider-Verse is. It is just like a beauty to watch. And then with my second pick, I'm gonna take Shrek number 2. So I'm giving you a little love there with the Puss in Boots shout, because the moment Antonio Banderas enters the Shrek franchise, everything becomes twice as funny. And Shrek 2 is probably my favorite of all of them.
It's a good pick. I think out of the Shrek franchise, that's probably the best film. But bouncing back to me, I'll actually take Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio with my second pick. I think an underrated gem from the past couple years. And again, animation's beautiful, but I think story-wise kind of going differently with the Pinocchio character. If you haven't seen our episode on that as well, obviously check it out. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with my first 2 picks there.
I like it. Ron, you got a 2 to wrap up things.
Okay, all right now. Look, I'm gonna keep the anime theme. You gotta go with the real rule. I gotta go with Kiki's Delivery Service.
Oh,
like just I'm always a sucker for coming of age stories, and just everything about it warms you. Like you feel for Kiki, just her growing into her own person, and all the adventures she's gonna go on through the film, and just the music. Y'all don't understand the music. I dug it so hard, man. I just jammed that so fast just to get it on my phone. Love every bit of it, man. You get lost in that, guys.
Had to get a Ghibli pick. All right, Ron, last pick here. What do you got?
Okay, look now. It's hard enough to go through this, right? But but in my soul, I actually had to go and rewatch it to really figure it out. And I'm like, yeah, still hits me. The Iron Giant. Come on now.
Yeah.
Come on, y'all. Like the Iron Giant is just one of those good old classics that never ages. And again, you connect with not just the kid, but just the robot itself. I still lose it every time when he goes, "So super, man." I'm all like, bro, man, come on.
Brad Bird, dude. He is a incredible director. It's unfortunate that he is stuck in director jail forever. Probably to never make another big
lost
movie.
forever, lost in the track of time.
We love The Incredibles. Kody, last pick, man.
Yeah, another good pick. I think Vin Diesel's probably best role of all time. I think I'm gonna go, since it's an anime episode, I'm gonna go with one of the few Studio Ghiblis I have seen and go Spirited Away. I mean, Miyazaki is obviously kind of a master of his craft. And this is definitely one of his best that I've seen. So yeah, I'll stay basic in the last round, but I'm pretty happy with my choices overall.
I was actually what I was going to take, Kody. So you pulled the Ghibli
dope time
out from under me. So I'm going to pivot to something stop motion, a little Tim Burton. I'm going to appeal to the 2000s Hot Topic crowd with The Nightmare Before Christmas. This is Halloween. Just a banger. Fun stuff. Jack Skellington, iconic character.
I thought that was a Disney release. I looked it up and it said.
Oh, you know what? You actually.
So I was gonna take it early.
You are right. The Nightmare Before Christmas is definitely a Disney movie.
Technically, I feel like it.
In terms,
I know it doesn't at all.
It is on Disney Plus. Let's see who the original distributor of the film was. Touchstone. I think it's owned by Disney now. Buena Vista Pictures. I'll do a different picture just to throw it out. I'll go full Phil Lord and Chris Miller, and I'll take the Lego movie. Shout out to Chris Miller. Recently rewatched that one with Mina. We were doing some Legos, watching the Lego movie. Had a great night.
Sounds like a good time. Yeah.
A movie again that shouldn't have worked. It shouldn't have been that good, but my gosh,
I'd like to see him make a live action of that one.
Oh, goodness gracious! I think we all lose our minds if we see that. Oh my gosh.
Finally, we're going to wrap up with our weekly watches.
Karen, honey, what are you watching?
What have we been into? Kody, I'll let you get it started. What have you been watching, man?
So I've been trying to stay on the movie train a little bit. I'll just run through some I've been going through. recently I did actually watch Spider-Man No Way Home for the first time since I saw it in theaters. I thought it was good. I mean, it's got an elite half hour there with the three Spider-Men coming together. But the Doctor Strange stuff kind of sucks, and everything else is kind of mid. But great half hour, so I definitely, obviously, love that movie just for that. Other than that, I did actually watch for the first time The Curious Case of Benjamin Button. Obviously, on our last episode, we did another Fincher flick, and that was one of the few of his I've not seen. I didn't really like it, if I'm being honest.
Oh gosh.
Brad Pitt kind of with some weird CG face the entire time. It's kind of distracting. Just like really, really long. Even though I like Kate Blanchett, I thought her character kind of sucked in the movie. Oh, and also checked out the MK300 episode on that too, which is really good. I do agree with most of Mina's thoughts. Just kind of a weird movie. I don't know. Then over that, I rewatched the 2011 Muppets movie for the first time in a while. Kind of just like a childhood favorite of mine, and had a lot of nostalgia for me on this rewatch. So if you haven't seen that, I would highly recommend that as well. And then lastly, I checked out Training Day for the first time. Surprisingly, I'd never seen that. Denzel's obviously a madman and absolutely insane.
He is a madman.
Obviously won the Oscar for it, so yeah, definitely deserved. I thought Ethan Hawke was really good too, and I really like the story where it's literally just focused kind of on these two characters. So I was really good overall. Kind of a dope ending as well. I think you can't really do that movie any better than they did. So those are my main recs.
Shout out to David Ayer, everybody's favorite director.
Oh my
He's a good writer. I don't know about director.
Yeah. I will say that I saw Madam Web. I know, Ron, you saw Madam Web. Kody, you haven't, right?
I've not yet. I'm putting it off. I don't
We'll no spoilers. Just say that it's not a good movie. Maybe not worth your time. I know you're probably still going to check it out, but
yeah, is Sydney Sweeney good or?
I mean, she's fine. She's okay. She's better than Dakota Johnson. I will say that. It's not saying a lot. Ron, do you have any Madam Web thoughts, and then general what have you been watching thoughts?
Listen, my thoughts on this, man. I cannot believe a whole money company you put out there this, and you expect hard-earned working people to pay their hard-earned money for this? Sit now, what are you doing? What are we trying to do? I've never sat in a theater so long and just being bored out of my mind. That's the thing. When you watch a bad movie, you want to have a good time. You want to laugh, joke around, have fun. I'm bored. I want to go home. I'm looking at my phone. I'm like, just end it. And then stop. It stinks. Crud stinks. I'm sorry. But going to things I enjoyed, had a good time watching. Checked out, finally, because I was being stubborn about it, The Bear. Checked out The Bear.
Yes.
Jeez. I never watched a show so much that made me want to go eat. Literally every episode, I had to go in my kitchen and go find a snack because I'm like, yo, I'm hungry. I loved it. I get the hype. I understand it. So freaking good. And then I checked out because X-Men 97 is coming out, and I was like, man, I haven't seen X-Men in a bit. Let me go check that back. Check that old series up, X-Men, the animated series. That song still hits. It still hits. But I will say, I'm just gonna put it out there, y'all. Did we overhype it? It's good. But did we overhype it a bit? Because there's some things and some moments in the show I'm like, I don't know. I'm just trying to take this nostalgia glasses off a tiny bit, y'all. Still fun watch, still a fun series, but I'm like,
it's a kid's show. I mean, it was, a kid's show for
it was like the spirit of it. I see it, but I'm like, man, this is something, brother, something. And then the last thing I did check out recently, only because I'm just a sucker and I had to watch it again, is the Iron Claw. I had to see the Iron Claw again, and love it. Still mad. I will hold a sign at the Oscars this year by myself out in the heat, probably down in the West Coast, that this film should have been nominated for something. You owe me nothing for nothing.
Catch Ron on Hollywood Boulevard, walking the streets, letting him know Zac Efron snubbed.
We stand, Zac Efron, for the man for this. You deserved it all, and now we're gonna have to see you in a comedy.
Rickety Stanicki coming soon.
This is our punishment, and we got to sleep on it. Thank you so much, Hollywood, for this.
That's a intense rewatch, Ron, but I commend you for giving it another go. I've been into some bad movies recently. Madam Web, surprisingly, not the worst one that I've watched. Watched the movie Aloha for the first time. Our friends over at the Rough Cut Retrospect did a little bit of an episode on it. Just an awful movie. Bradley Cooper, Emma Stone, in probably the worst movie that either of them have ever been in. And then I also watched the movie Knock Knock, which is an Eli Roth directed Keanu Reeves, Ana de Armas picture. And that is fucking terrible. Like, that is genuinely one of the worst things I've ever watched, period. Keanu's acting in the first like 10 minutes, he has like the scene with a family, and it's like so bad. Like, maybe some of the worst acting I have legitimately ever seen in a studio film. Crazy stuff.
That's like one of Ana de Armas's first performances too, right? Does she have a ton of lines?
It's like 2015. I mean, she does have a lot. She's playing a Spanish woman, so like the accent part of it, and
interesting.
I'm not even sure. It's a very strange movie. I gave it half a star. It's supposed to be like kind of sexy, like they seduce. It's just not fun at all. It's so stupid. Terrible ending. But then I've also been watching some good movies. So I rewatched The Terminator and Terminator 2 halfway through T3 for the first time. So kind of running through all those. Not impressed with the third one. Don't think I will be impressed with any other after that.
Yeah, get ready for Salvation. That's even worse. So
yeah. And then Mina and I watched 12 Angry Men. It was the first time she'd ever seen that. Just a classic. I had a Blu-ray copy of that. Got to check that out. And then I watched the movie Black Hat, 2015. Chris Hemsworth, directed by Michael Mann. Either of you familiar with this one?
I heard it and didn't see it.
Yeah, I didn't see it either.
It's got a 30% on Rotten Tomatoes. Also sent Michael Mann to director jail for about 8 years until he finally made Ferrari last year. This movie was released in January, bombed hysterically, made like 30 million of its 90 million dollar budget back. It's just a strange like hacker movie that's like very interested in the idea of like getting hacking right and like international like it's just so caught up in the ideas of like legitimacy, it gets lost in the sauce. And Chris Hemsworth has a really bad accent, and it's rough.
Brother, no.
I also watched The Intern with Robert De Niro and Anne Hathaway, and I thought that was a fun little cute movie. I will say, like, plot wise, it doesn't like really have a lot going on. Like, kind of in the third act, it's just like, oh yeah, there's conflict, but not really. Like, the movie's about Anne Hathaway and Robert De Niro having fun together, and that's okay too. But yeah, that's what I've been into recently, and excited to look forward to the Oscars, which are coming up in the next couple of weeks. We got a lot of talking, doing the pod, and a lot of new stuff coming. Ron, thank you for coming. Really appreciated you having you on, and appreciated you bringing a new world to us with the world of anime.
Look, if I had to be stuck in this whole whirlpool, I would have to put you all in it too, okay? And let me tell you something. Once you get in, you never want to leave. So I thank y'all for just allowing me just to add my 2 cents on a film that I forever and a day will always love, but also too, just to have a blast and kick it with the.
This has been a lot of fun. This has been great. Cody, thank you as well, as always.
No problem, man.
Any final thoughts you want to leave the people with, Cody?
Nah, man. Fun episode. Might have to have Ron on again to just bring another one of his recs.
This will not be the last time.
But yeah, good time as always, and stay capping.
Peace. Thanks for listening.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.